right, questions for Payton?
How concerned are you about three-point shooting, not just for the team itself? I mean, it's been a problem now. Is that just something you think will work itself out?
I think it will. I think a lot of it isn't really necessarily the shooters right now. I think it's just kind of getting good looks, and we're going to just keep working on our motion game. And it's getting a lot better in practice, and it's going to translate, which is going to lead to obviously a lot better looks. And I mean, I trust all the guys in that room to knock it down. We have one of the best shooting teams I've ever been on, and I think that's going to work itself out.
Payton, I think after the Iowa State game, you mentioned that, there's some stuff going on off the court for you guys. Tony's had a hard, 2 weeks probably with everything going on. How have you guys just kind of rallied together and kind of stayed the course with one another, kind of going through a rough stretch, kind of in both aspects right now, on and off the court?
Yeah, I think we've been really connected. Obviously, we went on that Europe trip, and it's one of my favorite teams that I've been on, and honestly, I'm kind of just surprised with how we've started. I think we have a really together unit, and you're going to continue to see that, which means that we are going to figure it out. And I think everybody loves each other, and it starts with the coaches. They've done a great job of just kind of keeping us together. And so far, we've had a really good week of practice, and I think it's gonna translate. And I'm really excited for the rest of the schedule.
And how important is it that you guys have that camaraderie right now with maybe not an ideal start to the season?
Yeah, I think it's probably the most important thing we can do, because when people start getting egos and start just thinking about themselves, that's kind of when it can spiral out of control. And ultimately, it was just one bad week, and I think we're going to be just fine. And that's because of the people that we have leading us and the people that we have in our locker room. And I'm really proud to be a part of this team and a part of that brotherhood, and then that's going to help us in the long run.
Did this week feel like kind of a reset with no games, just kind of, in finals and everything else?
Yeah, I think it came at the right time to kind of figure out what we were doing, figure out kind of our identity again, and so far we've done a really good job of that. I think it's been good for everybody, just kind of to be away a little bit, but then figuring it out, and I think it came right at the perfect time.
Not that you guys would take anyone lightly, but when you see Northwestern losing to Chicago State after they had beaten Purdue, does that just kind of reinforce to everybody that every game is a threat and you got to be ready?
Yeah, I think we learned that the hard way last year ourselves, playing Eastern Illinois. But at this level, you really can't take anybody lightly, because everybody has really good players, and Florida A&M is going to have really good players, and then whoever we have coming up after that. And yeah, you can't take anybody lightly at this level, or it'll bite you.
How do you just evaluate what you've done personally so far this season?
I think I'm learning a lot kind of about who I am as a person and as a leader, and I'm proud of the way that I've handled some situations. I think obviously some of our failures have started with the leaders of this team, including me, and I'm going to continue to work on it. And there's really no personal success without team success, and I think that's the most important thing right now, is just figuring out what we can do together and continue to keep everybody together.
You said you learned about yourself. What have you learned?
Just kind of what it takes and how detailed you have to be as a leader. I'm putting a lot of effort and time into just kind of trying to learn as a leader. We've had great leaders in the past that I've been able to learn from, and nothing comes easy. You have to continue to reinforce points. You have to meet with people individually and just kind of talk everybody through what you're seeing, what they're seeing, kind of get everybody's perspective. And I'm proud of myself, and I think it's going to be great for me in the future, even outside of basketball. But I'm just going to continue to figure it out in the short run.
Payton, you've been through some tough stretches before here at Iowa, whether personally or with the team. Are there any moments, you mentioned looking back at leaders that you've had before, anything that you think back to in your experience at Iowa that helps you right now, but helps the team right now by way of your leadership?
Yeah, I think my freshman year we won the Big Ten, but we also went 0-3 in that same stretch that we just did in that week right before finals. And I think it was important for me to kind of emphasize that to some of the guys. We've been through this exact same thing before, and we can't lose our confidence. I think that's kind of what happened Sunday against Michigan. Is the film really wasn't as bad as we may have thought, and like it was against Iowa State. We just kind of weren't really confident in ourselves, and I think I can keep emphasizing that to guys. And we have a lot of really, really good players, and a lot of them. So we're gonna figure it out, and I'll just continue to try and stay positive and keep leading them.
You guys obviously have a young team. Owen's now starting. How have you kind of seen him take that increased role so far?
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to get your first start in a Big Ten game, but I thought he came in ready. He brought energy. I was really proud of him for that. He's going to continue to get better and just more confident in that role. It's kind of a new group and a new role for him. So he's learning a lot right now, and he's going to continue to improve. I think you're going to see him make massive jumps throughout the rest of the year.
Payton, there's a lot of the players on this team are still super young, freshmen playing a significant role. I mean, you mentioned going kind of 0-3 in the last stretch. Maybe for freshmen, they start, pressing a little bit, maybe losing some confidence, being the leader that you are on this team. I guess, what do you say to the freshmen just to kind of keep their heads level and keep their game confident?
Yeah, so I kind of talked about what happened when we won the Big Ten that same stretch, but honestly, none of them are really used to losing. Like in high school, they won pretty much every game, so losing 3 in a row is a pretty big deal to them, and they take it hard. And obviously, it sucks for everybody, but it's just kind of something that comes with playing at this level. And the most important thing you can do is rebound, which is what we did last year, and we're going to do it again because we have a lot of guys in that room who do know how to do that. And just continue to just tell those guys that we're just playing basketball and to have fun with it. And there's going to be some tough stretches, but there's also going to be a lot of good ones this year. So there's a lot to look forward to and better days ahead.
Last question.
With the offensive struggles, I know we've talked about that a good amount with you, and you mentioned starting off a little bit slow in some of these games. Playing from behind is hard and difficult, especially making shots consistently after that. How do you guys start off a little bit hotter than you have been, and so you don't have these deficits to come back from early in the game?
Yeah, I think it just takes a different level of urgency than kind of we're showing right now in the first few minutes of the game. And as hard as it makes it offensively, when you start like that, it makes it probably harder defensively because it's a lot easier to shoot when you're ahead, which is how just the game of basketball works. But just coming out with a lot more urgency and being ready to go. I think we've had some good starts. We started pretty good against Michigan, but before that, just being on the road, you can't really start the way we did. So we're gonna just come out with a lot more energy, and we'll be ready to go.
Thanks, Payton.
Thanks, Payton.
All right, questions for Owen?
When Fran said that you were going to be starting from going forward, at least for now, are you more comfortable starting as opposed to coming off the bench? Because, I assume you've been doing that here at Owen.
Yeah, coming off the bench, it's something I've never experienced before, and I thought I did pretty well. But it feels really comfortable in the starting lineup. I feel really comfortable in the starting lineup. Something that I've worked for, and it's really a blessing from God. And it's just it took me a little bit just because obviously at this stage it's a little different. But yeah, I feel pretty comfortable.
How did you find out you were starting?
I was walking into film, and coach walked up. He's like, "Hey, just gonna put you in the starting lineup," and that was really it.
For you guys, I think Payton said a couple weeks ago that there's some stuff going off the court for you guys. Tony's had a kind of a hard couple of weeks. I guess, how have you kind of seen the leaders and you guys just kind of rally around one another and stick together when things might not be going the way you want on the court, but there's certain things going on behind the scenes too?
Yeah, I'm really proud of just the way this team we've stuck together through hard times. Obviously, last week didn't go the way we wanted, and obviously Tony's had some family things that's happened, and I'm really just proud of how we supported Tony and how we have come together. We kind of had to have basically like come to Jesus moment after last week and address what we were doing wrong on the court, and I felt like we've addressed it and we've moved on, and we've just I'm really proud of how this group handled it.
What's this losing streak like for you, first season? What has this been like for you?
It's not fun at all. It's not something that you come in wanting to do or even expect to happen. Obviously, it was a rough week, but we've worked past it and moved forward, and we learned from it.
You lead the team in offensive rebounds and actually have more offensive rebounds by one than defense. Is that what you Is that working the way it wants for you?
Yeah, coach wanted to, that was an emphasis for me, is to go and crash offensive glass every time. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job doing that. And I feel like that just gives our team a better opportunity to score and gives us more second chance points.
You mentioned the come to Jesus moment. Is that kind of a meeting that you guys had? Is it just the fact that you guys have had 3 tough losses in a row? Like, was there a specific moment?
Yeah.
What was that?
I mean, we had a pretty rough film session just because of how we played. So we addressed it, and then we kind of, as a team, just decided that we had some things to change, and really that was within each one of us, and it needed to happen. So it was kind of just after the Michigan game, the next day, we all just kind of had to get in that mindset.
What are some of those things that need to change?
I mean, I feel like on the offensive end, we were way too stagnant. Like we're in practice, we'll go through and we have a great pregame and a great scout practices, and we're just not executing as well as we wanted to on the court. And on defense, I mean, we bring defensive intensity in practice, but again, it doesn't really translate during the game. And those are just things that we really focused on and really wanted to do moving forward.
I know Payton said there's no such thing as personal success without team success, but kind of through your first 10 games for you, I mean, what's the biggest maybe one or two things you've learned about maybe the differences between high school and Big Ten basketball now?
Yeah. Just the physicality. I mean, my first 2 Big Ten games, I'm going against Zach Edey and Terrace Reed, who are both great players and very, very physical. And I've definitely had to learn that it's not high school anymore. I can't really play behind guys, and just the speed of the game, it's 10 times different or 10 times faster than it is in high school, and just having to make that adjustment pretty quick. And those are my 2 biggest changes or differences.
It's pretty comfortable for you, though. I mean, it doesn't seem like you've really missed a beat, especially, you go from one end to the other, the transition offense, transition defense. Is it almost even more comfortable for you, but is it pretty comfortable at this point for you?
Yeah, I feel like I've adjusted pretty well, and that I'm pretty comfortable. Obviously, you have those moments where you make those freshman mistakes, and obviously I want to move past those. And but yeah, I feel pretty comfortable out there, just run the floor, and getting back on offense and defense and stuff like that.
What's Payton been like as a leader?
He's been a great leader. I mean, I look up to Payton, and I talk to Payton a lot. He's one of my closest friends, so his leadership has been something that I've been very impressed with, just the way he's kind of taking charge over the team and tries to get us fired up. It's really great, and I'm really proud of him.
Is there any specific? Did he speak to the team as a whole, or is it more just kind of individually?
He's spoken to the team as a whole, and then we've had conversations within ourselves. He tries to get us fired up during the game. You kind of saw it during the Iowa State game. He's sitting there trying to motivate us, and so he's met he'll talk to the team as a whole, but he can also pull guys aside.
Oh, and I know you guys are going to continue to play a significant role, the freshman class in general, and I think Payton said you guys aren't used to losing at any level of your life. I mean, you guys won state last year. I mean, as freshmen, how do you kind of stay the course of the season, keep level-headed, not get too high, stop, not press during a losing streak? What's kind of the key to maintain the level-headedness?
Yeah, I think you kind of you were talking about not getting too high or too low, and I think that's our main thing. No matter if we have a great game or if we don't go out and play the best, we know the goal that we have, and we know the work that we got to put in. So it's kind of just keeping that even-keeled type attitude, and no matter what, and how good you are and the confidence the coaches and everyone has in you, and you kind of just ride the roller coaster, and you don't get too emotional no matter what is thrown your way.
Have you lost 3 games in a row in your life before?
Not since freshman year of high school, so it's a little different. But we got plans to change that.
You talk about Payton addressing the team. Was that did he do that after?
He's just called a couple team meetings just to kind of talk about just some things going on, and to kind of just get our focus right.
What did you say?
Just kind of that. I mean, just kind of getting our focus right and addressing the problems we're having on the court. Nothing too deep or anything. Just kind of the problems that we need to fix on the court.
Is it players only, or?
Yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Owen.
Thanks,